Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
So we've got key economic data here. Joining us from Trinity, the PhD in economics, Colin Hunt. Would you like to chime in, sir, on U.S. economic data? Can we avoid that this morning?
I think the U.S. is at a very interesting juncture. You obviously have an increase in inflation pressures. The signs that the labour market is weakening. So this is a uncomfortable moment for policymakers, I suspect.
We welcome you from Allied Irish Bank. Colin Hunt with us here, and of course with all of his Trinity economics. Let's first identify AIB right now. Is it safe to say you're owned by the Irish government? How do you answer that question?
We were owned by the Irish government. The Irish government came to our rescue post the GFC, and for a period of about 15 years, the Irish government had a presence on our share register. And in June just gone, we marked the Irish government's exit. And once again, the organisation is 100% privately owned. And in fact, one of the reasons that I'm here this week, we had a Barclays Financials Conference yesterday, meeting a lot of our investors. Most of our very significant investors are based here in the United States.
Well, this is very important. We'd like to have some news here. Jennifer Dugan's waiting in Dublin for this. Can we suggest there would be some form of public offering of shares of Allied Irish Bank in the coming weeks, quarters? Can you make an announcement today?
There's certainly no announcement to be made because we're 100% free floating at this stage. So the government has exited the register. They came to our rescue with about almost 21 billion euro. We repaid that, and now we are 100% privately owned.
This started well.
It started very well. Dr. Hunt, give us some perspective on sort of the appetite for cross-border transactions at this point in time. So here we're living this day in, day out, the kind of ambiguity or uncertainty about trade policy and economic policy more broadly. What do companies domiciled outside of the United States think of this environment, and how's that affecting business as you see it?
Well, I suppose the environment, we had a period of uncertainty earlier on this year, and very, very warmly welcomed the fact that we have come to an agreement between President Trump and President von der Leyen, which was announced in Scotland a few weeks ago. Business, as you know, hates uncertainty. We have certainty now. Would you pick a tariff level of 15%? You wouldn't necessarily, but that's the reality. That's what we're dealing with, and at least the uncertainty now has been eliminated. The United States is a hugely important market for Ireland. Not only as a source for our exports, but also as a place where Irish businesses invest. So typically Irish businesses, when they outgrow a market that is growing quite robustly, but still quite small, they typically go to the UK first, and then they go to the United States. So that was the path we followed. We've been here in New York for 50 years this year. And we still, all the way through the crisis, we maintained, and all the way through our period of government ownership, we maintained our physical presence here. It's a really important place from us from an investment perspective, but it's also a really important country for deployment of our loan book. And of course, other Irish businesses followed us as well. So you have the likes of CRH, the likes of Smurfit Westrock, the likes of Kerry Group, all having very significant exposures to the United States. Notwithstanding the uncertainty we had earlier this year, it's still a hugely important market, and it's a hugely important provider of external capital.
How is the Irish economy doing today? When you look at the housing market, at commercial investments, what's the relative health of the Irish economy in 2025?
The economy is doing quite well. Like Irish GDP numbers, because of the scale of the international sector in the economy, can be wild and volatile. So we tend not to look at GDP. We tend to look at modified domestic demand. So this year we're talking about growth somewhere of the order of about 2.3, 2.5% in real terms. Unemployment, about 4%, and total employment in the state now running at 2.8 million. That sounds small, but when I was in college all those many, many years ago, 35 years ago or so, we had 1 million people at work. So this is an economy utterly transformed, and now one of the best performing in Europe.
Colin Hunt with us with the Allied Irish Bank, and we continue. We're commercial free with you across America, in Ireland, and around the world here through this important economic report in 14 minutes. Ed Ludlow's scheduled to be with us here in a bit on the important Apple meetings. I was talking with Olivia Fletcher. She calls me up. Olivia calls me up. She goes, "Did I wake you? It's 3 a.m. I'm like, Olivia, time zones.
He's up.
And Colin, I got like an hour conversation with you, and I think, frankly, President Trump could have an hour conversation with you. Let's talk about the strange corporate boom in Dublin And the fact that people sophisticated like Blackstone are literally giving the keys back on office buildings. What is the state of commercial real estate in, as you say, a completely rebuilt Irish economy?
So the commercial real estate market had a very good run. And then once we had the turn in the official rate cycle, you began to see valuations coming back quite a bit. Of course, you had the COVID impact and the impact on commercial valuations because of working from home. That would have led to a downward adjustment as well. But we have seen quite a significant step back in valuations.
Is the market clearing?
I think the market is clearing, and certainly we're beginning to see signs of people of higher degrees of interest in the market. There are trades taking place. The valuation adjustment seems to be behind us. If anything, I would have expected that to happen a little bit earlier because of the turn in the rate cycle. But I do think we are at the bottom of the cycle and through it.
A related question, perhaps closer to home. I'm wondering what your offices are looking like. I remember reading you're trying to get employees back 3 days a week. Some pushback to that, as I know there was here in the States with a number of financial institutions and other businesses. Here we are at the end of the summer, looking to the fall. Where does that process stand? Were you surprised by the reaction? Folks didn't want to come in 3 days a week.
You really didn't want to hear this question.
I will answer. There's no question I don't want to hear, and I'm more than comfortable in answering that. Look, we have a situation where we have effectively 3 types of work patterns inside the organisation. Our branch staff are in 5 days a week. Our call centre staff are in 5 days a week. Our security people in 5 days a week. We have some people who work from home 2 days a week. We currently have a group of people who work from home 3 days a week. And we're asking that group of our colleagues to come into the office an additional day. I think it is really good for culture. I think it's good for learning and development. I think ultimately it's good for the business.
Money question to Nicholas Booth at Stanford's wonderful work. You've given me the best explanation of this I've heard. Are you down the road believing that you're going to compensate people who are in 5 days a week versus the work from home crew?
Well, the contracts that people have lay out in great detail their base of employment. We're not we incentivize our staff to come to work through a salary check that arrives in their account on the 25th of every month.
Just because of time, I've got to get to this. There's a back and forth on trade, and everything within Ireland with America and tariffs and Trump comes down to the pharmaceutical industry. Give us a state that Allied Irish Bank sees of, yes, the weight loss drugs I'm not using. Gura's just cut and chiseled.
Using heavily.
But help us with the pharmaceutical dynamic that will change given decisions by President Trump.
So some of the biggest pharma names here in the United States have had a physical presence in Ireland for over 50 years. Ireland is a very, very attractive location for US investment. Gives you open, unfettered access to the largest single market in the world, in the European Union. Common law, English speaking, and we have, of course, a cultural and perhaps fraternal affinity with one another across the Atlantic. So we have very, very deep-rooted US pharmaceutical companies in Ireland. It's a big driver of our exports to the United States. We did go through a period of grave uncertainty earlier on this year, but I'm very, very happy that that has been eliminated now. We have some certainty in relation to tariffs in that sector.
Thank you for getting lie-flat beds on Aer Lingus.
It's all his doing.
I used to be a director of Aer Lingus. I was a non-executive director.
You're the one that pushed it through.
I don't know who told you that, but
I'm sitting on Aer Lingus, and it's like Icelandic Airways back. And you brought an entourage with you. With Guinness too. Thank you. What is Aer Lingus? Is all of a sudden got a buzz to it, doesn't it?
Well, Aer Lingus had a buzz to it going all the way back to its privatisation, really, in 2006.
But you got lie-flat beds, finally.
The you need to fly more often with Aer Lingus. They've had lie-flat beds for the best part of a decade, if not more.
Well, they have, but now they're really pushing it. Colin Hunt, can you come back again? Are you going to be in New York in the next 5 years?
I'll probably be here in the next 5 weeks.
All right. With Allied Irish Bank, and we say good morning to Boston that knew Allied Irish Bank years ago. Colin Hunt, thank you so much. Dr. Hunt of Allied Irish Bank, their chief executive.